Welcome to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling. You are about to discover impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you, so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Be sure you visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now tune in, get ready, and enjoy the journey of emerging as a leader of exception in the 21st century.
Welcome, everyone, to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast. I'm your host, Vicki Noethling, coming to you from Roswell, Georgia. The goal of this podcast is to bring topics and guests that will empower you to become that confident leader and take your business or your life to the next level. Today, I am very pleased to have with me Beth Sandlin, and let me tell you a little bit about Beth. She is an NCPT, and we'll talk about that in a minute, merges her passion for Pilates, health, and trauma-informed practices, aiming to uncover the joy and beauty in each day through movement. As the founder of Trifecta Pilates, she offers a wide range of online Pilates classes through YouTube and the Trifecta Pilates app, bringing Pilates into homes worldwide, emphasizing the importance of moving in alignment with your nervous system. Her expertise also extends into professional education with the trauma-informed Pilates approach and a comprehensive Pilates mat teacher training program, enriching the field with her innovative and mindful approach. Through her work, Beth invites everyone to explore the transformative power of movement and discover the path to wellness that resonates with body, mind, and spirit. Today, we're going to talk about mindful movement for health and energy. I'm so excited to welcome Beth Sandlin. Beth, so good. I didn't have drugs whenever I had my two children. I just did yoga and Pilates. And the breathing from the yoga is really but Pilates just was a great way. I tried all the other things. I'm not coordinated enough to do dance aerobics or anything, but Pilates was just such a relaxing, strengthening thing. So now in my mid 60s, we'll say mid 60s, I'm getting back to doing all those things again.
I love that you have personal experience and have experienced the benefits, and also highlighted relaxing yet strengthening, which sometimes you're like, how can that happen? It can be an easeful workout, and yet we do notice that we get stronger. And I have experienced those benefits as well. I have two children and did Pilates all the way through, and many of my clients as well did Pilates while they were pregnant or shortly after, and found it was just so beneficial for their not only movement experience and how they felt in their body, but also just having a place to de-stress. And it's a beautiful experience, whether it's for a good workout or for something more.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about what I found after the baby was born, how it was helpful too. But first, before we get into those questions, the first question I have is a simple one. Just tell everybody, where do you call home? Where do you live?
I live in Colorado. I'm in the Denver metro area.
Oh, right near Toastmasters headquarters. So what led you on this journey of being so passionate about Pilates, so much so that you created this whole movement piece?
It really goes back to when I had cancer in my early 20s, and that was such a challenging experience for me. It actually reconnected me to why I wanted to work out, and it had nothing to do with physique. It was all about, I wanted to feel good in my body, have enough energy and vitality throughout my day And for someone like myself, who I actually didn't enjoy working out when I was younger, I said, like, I just can't do that. I didn't like PE classes. It offered me a space where I found joy in movement. And yes, sometimes the workouts can still be challenging, but holding on to that why is really my passion for now moving and teaching Pilates for over 20 years.
Wow. So again, that ties nicely to the question that I was going to ask you, and that was whenever I had my children, and you talk about being tired from cancer and that treatment and things. After you have a baby and you're going through the first 4 months where little sleep, lots of awkward positions, how can Pilates help you in that?
Oh, this is such a fabulous question. And I actually was just talking with a colleague of mine last week who's a pre and postnatal specialist, uh, teaching other Pilates teachers about this time period.
Yeah.
And it's the fact that we do get to move our body sometimes in Pilates as well, and pretty strange positions. So we get to work out kind of the kinks that sometimes happen from being in one position for a prolonged period of time, because we're nursing or other things that we're doing with our child. And we know lack of sleep definitely impacts our workouts. And what I found is that we can move more with slow exercises during that time, maybe shorter sessions. So it's not going from, we're cleared for exercise maybe 6 to 12 weeks after we've had our baby, but it's how we're going to slowly get back into exercise, because our body is still healing during that time.
Yeah.
Not only is it still healing, but as you mentioned, there's a lot of new that comes with it. And with that new is sometimes we don't feel as good. We definitely lack sleep. We're caring for someone else now. And I found that to be a really wonderful way in which we don't feel like we have to get back to longer length workouts right away, because it may not be what makes sense for us at that time or other periods of our life as well.
Yeah. During tummy time, you can be doing some other things related to Pilates too. So the baby's still with you, touching, but you're also getting some workout, if you will. So how do you align workouts with the nervous system for the optimal results? We talked about that in your opening.
Yes, so I think first understanding that sometimes we have higher energy and other periods of our life and day we have lower energy.
Yes.
And my first ask for people is start to just tune into what are your natural rhythms? When do you have higher energy? Do you tend to be that early bird where you rise right away and you're like ready to go? Or is your energy maybe a little bit more delayed? This can be really useful information, because if we have the luxury then to pair workouts during when we have a higher energy, that's going to be really helpful. If we don't, it may be an indicator, well, maybe we want to turn down the dial of intensity of the workout a little bit so that it actually is motivating to work out. Because so often when it comes to exercise, the message we've been told of, has to be long, has to be really hard. It just doesn't always feel like that's the best thing. And what I've learned is that that's actually our body saying we need to do something else. And if we tune into that and listen to that wisdom and maybe make adjustments by turning down the dial of intensity, not only is it beneficial for our nervous system many times, but there's also other elements of physical conditioning that we are training when we're doing something slower paced, a little bit easier compared to something really vigorous. I feel like for too long with workouts, it's just been focused on the higher intensity vigorous as being beneficial for the body. There's definitely a time and place for another element of movement besides that higher intensity.
Yeah. That was an argument that my husband and I used to have when I first got married, because I was doing yoga and Pilates and breathing and stretching and things, and he was doing weights and high intensity aerobics and I was maintaining my weight and my energy level and everything, and he was like, but you're not exercising. I was like, but yes I am. You do this with me one time, please.
100%, that workouts can be on the spectrum from lower intensity to higher intensity. And I found, similar to the example you gave where you kind of preferred that slower pace, a different style of workout, your husband appreciated something else, is that we want to lean into what do we naturally appreciate, what motivates us, and then maybe look at, well, how could we round that out a little bit more? So for a lot of people who enjoy more challenging workouts, like those traditional workouts, that strength training or running for cardiovascular work, it's really beneficial to have a complement of something more mindful, a little slower, like Pilates or yoga. And the opposite, of course, is true for people who do maybe more Pilates and yoga. How can we round that out, getting in a little bit more of cardiovascular? It doesn't mean we have to go and run on a treadmill or even outside, even walking vigorously or going on a bike ride with friends. There's so many options with movement. And I think that's what's really beautiful nowadays that we're starting to get into, is exploring how it doesn't have to be one path to overall wellness.
I remember years ago that someone once said, I don't know if it was a coach or a someone on television, but that you need to, your muscles and things need to rest, that if you're constantly breaking them down, it's not good for you either. That, and so that's where the complement for me, you know, I started to integrate aerobics 2 or 3 times a week, and then Pilates the rest of the time.
100%. That rest is essential for muscle recovery. It helps to reduce injury. It actually helps to improve strength gain. So even people who like the more challenging workouts, we know that actually resting is really helpful. And a friend of mine, she really likes pickleball. And there was a point where she just could not come to the pickleball courts consistently for approximately a month. And she felt like, oh my gosh, if I go back to pickleball, it's gonna be so challenging now because I've taken this break for a month. What she found out was she actually did so much better when she returned to the courts because she gave her body rest and recovery.
Wow.
And that's what the research shows us, that when someone has a consistent workout routine for a few months, this could be anywhere between 2 and 4 months, that if they take a rest of either a week or even longer. So if someone's more of that 4-month time period, they've been really consistent with workouts, you can take up to a month off and maintain all your same gains you had. But the benefit is you get to go back stronger into the activities that you enjoy. One of the fears that a lot of people I work with have is, but if I take that time off, I'm going to be inconsistent. Because it's really common that we'll be consistent maybe for a few months, take many, many months off and hop back on. And so my suggestion for that, if that's ever a concern, like that's someone's motivation to keep working out, is hold that spot for your workouts, just do something different. So if you've been, doing maybe really challenging cycling workouts, just go on a really easy bike ride. If it's been maybe more vigorous Pilates or yoga, why don't you do something a little bit more restorative, a little bit more soothing, and see how that can still hold a time slot for workouts, but we're moving the body in a complementary way compared to what your traditional week is like.
As you're talking about that, it just reminded me of crop rotations. Those out there that know nothing about farming or whatever, but you have to move crops from plot of land to plot of land because it has to give time for the nutrients that you took out to get replenished back in. And our bodies are like that plot of land, and you need to take time for those nutrients to replenish.
I love that analogy. It's really true. And we think of even just our 24-hour day, that we take time for rest and recovery each and every day as well.
Yeah. So what are some exercises specifically that, or routines that will help reduce that stress and promote that calm nervous system?
I think this is really individual, and we're getting to the point where, again, research is starting to back this up, which is really amazing. Because when I first got into understanding about trauma and the nervous system and a trauma-informed care framework, there was a big push. We just need to do down-regulating movements and exercises. For instance, do deep breathing, gentle stretches. But what we also know is that a lot of people don't appreciate that. It actually makes them feel more anxious. It doesn't help regulate the nervous system. It causes dysregulation. So I encourage people, when they think about something that's soothing, is it taking some deep breaths in the stretching class? Or is it something maybe a little bit more on that vigorous side where we elevate the heart rate? Because sometimes having that heart rate elevated, and I'm not talking about we have to have really high intensity, just we're getting maybe a little bit increase with that heart rate, it can be really beneficial. So I encourage people to kind of experiment with this. How does it feel to take maybe a session focusing just on deep breathing? Compare that to one focusing on stretching or gentle movements, or even getting outside and going for a walk. And in doing so, then you'll find kind of your secret recipe of, sometimes it makes sense to just focus on deep breathing. And other times, you know what, getting away from the office and going outside for that walk is going to be more regulating than just sitting in stillness and breathing deeply.
And also the act of the walk really allows you to be concentrating on something else until you stop concentrating on your brain. And then all of a sudden your brain opens up to great things and lets you really be more creative and innovative. Problem solve. I always say, scrub your floor if you want to problem solve.
I love that.
So what is your philosophy on health and wellness, and how does Pilates fit into that?
There's a lot of different elements, and there's actually a lot of different models for overall health and wellness. And what I've found over the 20 years that I've been in health education, I have a degree in health education, that sometimes people are making this more complex than it needs to be. For instance, I was on a research or on a committee once, a wellness committee, and they came up with approximately 13 pillars of wellness. I don't remember them. I didn't remember them at the time either. 13 is a big number to remember when it comes to wellness. So I say, how can we simplify this? And what I teach is fitness, fuel, and fun. 3 different elements. This is part of the Pilates method in my methodology anyways, and it links to Joseph Pilates' writing in this book, Return to Life. And of course, underneath each pillar, we have different elements. So when we think about fitness, so often people think about very structured fitness. And there is a time and place for that, especially since over the course of not only our lifetime, but from generation to generation, we've done a really good job at being more convenient with life. So as an example, we go back to way back in the day, like to wash our clothes. That was a process where it was on a washboard and hanging the wash to dry, and it was very labor intensive. Well, I don't want to go back to that. I love my washing machine and dryer, but it's also limited movement. And so that's where structured fitness is really helpful. And another element that we don't want to discount is, what are the unstructured ways in which we can incorporate more physical activity into our life? Maybe it is cleaning and doing yard work, or when you're not doing your traditional workouts, you're on vacation, you're sightseeing, so you get to walk more. And what I've recognized for a lot of people is this more simple approach and understanding it's not just about the structured workouts, what we're focusing on right now, but other elements takes the pressure off of workouts, so that when people do go on vacation, maybe they want to stay with their structured workouts, or maybe it makes sense to use that as more of a rest period, and they're doing an active rest by engaging and really having fun, bringing in another pillar here of enjoying their life.
I just came back from vacation, and originally my intent was, well, I'll just go to the gym a couple times, and I walk the beach every day, and that was good enough for me. It was more relaxing and still was able to be with family. So, and I didn't feel a bit guilty.
I love that. And that's exactly what I do as well when I do take beach vacations, which isn't very often, but I know if I'm near the beach, it's just going to be walking up and down. And it is just so amazing to take that pressure off, because something that can also help the pressure alleviate a little bit is when we think about the benefits of workouts, it's not 1 week or even 1 month that's going to make a difference. This is about moving our bodies for the rest of our lives. And we think
Yeah.
about that, we really zoom out. That 1 week vacation that we had, or even a couple weeks vacation, that's just a small drop in the bucket. And that's
Yeah.
not to discount or be an excuse for when we can come to our Pilates mats or other workouts that you enjoy doing, but it's to really put this into the perspective of, this is for our life. And here's the thing, I'm probably never going to regret when I look back on my life, like a workout that I missed, but I may regret not being able to do the things that I want to do, move my body in a way that feels good. And that's where a consistent workout program comes into play, is it helps us feel good. It increases mobility, strength, or bone density, all these things that for a really long time people felt like, oh, I'm getting older, this is why these things are happening. We actually more know it's more the mantra, if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. So it does
Yeah.
take that active engagement. And then we balance that out with the rest of our life, taking rest and enjoying that beach stroll when you can.
Absolutely. Or being able to chase after a 5 and a 9-year-old grandchild.
I love that. I love that. And those are memories, like, they're going to remember that. They're going to remember how fun you were and you were able to do all of those activities with them.
That's exactly right. So how has being a mom influenced your approach to teaching and practicing Pilates?
I think it really made it more realistic. It was a dose of humble pie when I tried to hold on to my workout routines that I did before I had kids compared to after. And I'm not talking about the intensity, I'm simply talking about the schedule. Because what I found with having children is, like, the moment you feel like I got the schedule down, something changes. Their nap
Absolutely.
schedule changes, you have another child, they get sick, there's a field day, whatever it may be. And I realized, we're really flexible with them and we allow changes. I need to have that adaptability with my workout program as well. And that's now what I teach. It's how I took the pressure off of classes. So anywhere from very, very short workouts to longer length workouts. Sometimes we choose short workouts because that's what our body needs. Maybe we're easing back into moving or moving in a new way. Or perhaps it's simply, we have 24 hours in a day, yes, but we have different roles and responsibilities within those 24 hours. And sometimes it is packed in there pretty tight. And it just makes more sense to do something on the shorter side rather than trying to stress ourselves out and do that full length hour-long workout.
Yeah, and feeling guilty because you couldn't do it. It's like, I'm guilty because I'm not taking care of my kids, or I'm guilty because I'm not, putting a big dinner on the table, or I'm guilty because I didn't get to work out. So no guilt.
Exactly. I think really taking the time to focus on what makes sense, what can we do, and what are those little pockets of time. For a lot of parents I work with, sometimes the pockets of time are when they take their kids to an activity rather than being on their phone or running additional errands, like just getting out and taking a walk during that time period.
So what really motivated you, I could say that, to start the Trifecta Pilates, and why that name?
What motivated me to start Trifecta Pilates really was a mom that I have actually never met. I was walking home from the train station. I was working full time at the time, hour commute each way. I was walking down the stairs and it had a light drizzle, and a mom comes running past me carrying one child and holding the hand of another child. And during that moment, it was just like a freeze frame that I realized I had at the time been thinking about opening up a Pilates studio. And I recognized she would probably never be able to walk in the doors of my Pilates studio because she was the person who I was, which is rushing from one activity to another. And where I have always been most successful working out is out of my home, because it can be that 10-minute workout, it can be something longer, snow days, whatever it may be. I can be at the foot of my bed, or I can go into my basement. And so that was really my aha of, oh, it needs to be all online, because that's how we can be really consistent with workouts when we are moving where we are, not have to always go to another place. The name Trifecta really respects that it's not only about a physical movement practice for our body, but also the mental health benefits, the brain health benefits of movement, which we know it improves cognitive function, improves concentration, decreases the risk of dementia. I mean, there's so many beautiful benefits with workouts when it comes to brain health, mental health, mind health, and then also knowing our energy, our spirit level is impacted by workouts. And I really identify with spirit as we can pick up on the signals someone else is sending, especially if we know them really well. Like the moment they walk in the door, we know they're having a good day, kind of a day, or a really not great day. And before they even say anything, sometimes we'll ask them a question, just tuning in with how they are, like their nervous system, how they're speaking to us. And I encourage people to tune into does their nervous system need, knowing that workouts can positively influence our energy level. And it's all of those elements that are impacted by movement.
So very true. Well, it has flown by. I have one more rapid fire question for you. How did the workouts play a role in your cancer recovery? And you don't have to answer it in only a minute. You can take your time. I've given you a few minutes because I really want people that may be out there with cancer that think they're stuck in a bed, or, you know, obviously doctors allowed, but talk to us about that.
Thank you for asking that, because sometimes when people see the movements that I can do and teach now, they feel like I can never get there. And I've been there with my cancer journey. It depleted my energy, my muscle mass. I lost about 25 pounds in approximately a month. That type of weight loss that quickly is not healthy. And when I went back in to start working out, it was really humbling. I could not do a push-up on my knees. I went down and stayed down. But what was worse was I couldn't even hold my nephew. I didn't have the energy for that. Like standing up, you were referring to being in a bed. Standing up, I would faint because I just did not have energy even to stand. And I recognized, you know, I really can't try to go back into those long length, really intense workouts right away. So I had to start from the ground up. And that's why, especially within the app, there's short workouts, beginner level classes, because we may all need them, whether it's we're simply short on time or we're getting back into working out after a prolonged period of time. And for people I've worked with, similar to me, it may be cancer, it may be a surgery, it may be after children, it may just simply be life got really, really busy and workouts weren't our priority. And now we want to focus on them again. Yeah. And if we start shorter, smaller sessions, a little bit easier than we think we should, I found that builds a really wonderful foundation rather than just skipping the steps and then feeling like, oh, that workout, I feel miserable the next day. I'm so sore. I feel like I can't even move. That it's moving with where we are in the present and slowly going up, we can rebuild strength.
Absolutely. All right, so it's time now for me to share my screen. If you have enjoyed the conversation we've had as much as I have, please get a paper and pencil if you're just listening. But if you're watching, you can get a screenshot of Beth's contact information. So Beth Sandlin's website is, as we were saying, trifectapilates.com, trifectapilates.com. On Facebook, it's Trifecta Pilates with a capital T and a capital P. Instagram and YouTube is Trifecta Pilates, all small letters. And I'm going to turn it over to Beth to talk to you about her call to action today, what you can find on that website, and some other things that she has. Beth?
So on the website, you can find everything that we do at Trifecta Pilates, from professional development to how you can take classes. Of course, YouTube is an option for people who want a plan to follow, or really maybe starting from the foundational level. This is where the app is really beneficial because there's so many more classes available. We also have the opportunity to connect in real time via our Zoom classes. And of course, the replays are always available for that. And if you're looking to get started with maybe a 7-day program, I suggest checking out the Evolution series. You can find more info about that either on the YouTube channel or on the website. And if you wanted the direct link, it's trifectapilates.com/move. It is a Pilates program for 7 days. And as we were talking about earlier, it doesn't mean that we have to work out for those full 7 days. So part of the program is actually rest and recovery, and also a session prior to just kind of warm up the body, get in tune with your alignment, what would be most optimal for you. And there's additional tips and suggestions through that program as well.
Fantastic, Beth. It's been just wonderful chatting with you. Love everything that you're doing. And, as I said, I love Pilates. I think it's a great way to exercise, and how you tied it in with health and wellness, but the mind piece, the nervous system, and the energy level. I just think we touched on so many great things for new moms, for working moms, for dads, everyone. So so rich with a lot of information today. Thanks for being such a great guest.
Oh, and thank you for having me on. I truly hope that this was valuable.
Excellent. And as always, I remind everyone that life is a journey, and it's up to you to enjoy the ride. This is Vicki Noethling, signing off.
Thank you for tuning into the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling, where we share impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Remember to visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast.